watching the Livewell, presented by Mercury, exclusively on Bassmaster.com.
Ready with Livewell time, looking ahead to the next stop for the Bassmaster Elite Series. That's Ross Barnett Reservoir in central Mississippi, and we're going to talk to Cliff Pace of Mississippi to help us out on this one. Cliff Pace, what a great career. 10 years now, hard to believe, on the Bassmaster Elite Series. And during that time, he has most definitely gotten the job done. He's got 3 Bassmaster wins, including the 2013 Bassmaster Classic. He makes a check about 70% of the time. That's pretty impressive. And about, well, 4 out of 4 or 5 times, one of those times he'll get you a top 20. That's a pretty good statistic as well. Cliff, thanks so much for spending a little time with us today.
Yes, my pleasure.
Hey, we're going to talk about Ross Barnett, and I know you've spent some time there. I guess a good place to start for a place we've never been to on the Elite Series is to ask you, among the places we have been, or been multiple times, what does it most remind you of? Which lake does it most remind you of?
Ross Barnett is going to probably remind you a lot of, probably kind of like a Lake Dardanelle or something on the Arkansas River. It's typically a fairly shallow lake, and it normally keeps a pretty good amount of color in it, especially this time of the year. It's fed by the Pearl River, so any localized rain or anything you get pumps right into the lake. So it's going to probably remind you as much of a river system as it is a lake.
Okay. Now, is this a big generating lake here? Is it going to be pulling a lot of current, or is it do you more or less rely on the wind for your current like you do at Toledo Bend?
It'll just totally depend upon. It's not really a generation power plant lake. It'll really just depend on what level the lake is. As to what the Corps decides to do as far as dropping water or letting water rise. It'll really just depend on what kind of weather we have between the tournament and now.
Yeah. It's kind of small, maybe 30,000 acres. Is that too small for Elite Series? You're going to have to be going behind other people and catching fish, Cliff?
In my opinion, it's way too small, and I don't mean that offensively, but it is a very small lake. It's not going to fish like a 30,000 acre lake. It's going to definitely fish very small, and there'll be a lot of guys in a few small areas. And for sure, without a doubt, you're not going to fish this tournament without fishing behind somebody at some point.
Going to be one shallow, or is it going to be one deep, or a little of both?
I think it could be a combination of both. I think we're at that time of the year where it could be a mixture.
All right, so you're not really claiming any sort of home field advantage here, then, right?
I'm really not. The lake's only 2.5 hours from my house. But living in South Mississippi like I do, I spent so much more time fishing the coastal waters that we have, the tidal rivers, as well as the Louisiana Delta. Ross Barnett's really just not a place that I've ever spent a lot of time fishing.
All right. Other than yourself, give me 2 good picks to win this tournament.
I think you're going to see some guys that can mix it up a little bit, really excel here. I think guys like Keith Combs that can fish 2 or 3 different patterns at one time. I think Keith could be a really good one to watch there. I think Jason Christie could have a good tournament there. It reminds me a lot of some of the lakes they have up in Arkansas. I think guys like that are going to be some of your key players here. The guys that are going to like the lake, and the guys that the lake's going to suit the best. All
right, a little bit of a slow start for you at the first event of the year, but you've got it on track nicely. They're in the top 30, 35 or so there. You intend to keep that going. See any obstacles to that for the rest of the season?
Yeah, hopefully I can. I did. I kind of had a little bump in the road to start the year this year up at Cherokee, but I've had 2 decent tournaments since then, and hope to continue having good ones towards the end of the season.
All right, we wish you the best of luck there, and at Ross Barnett as well. Thank you so much, Cliff Pace, and thank you all for watching the live.